This week is bringing with it a lot of promising new game releases, a sequel to a gigantic franchise, a couple modified releases of one of the most iconic games ever, and more. Let's get right into this with the top 10 new game releases of the week. Number 10, The Sims 4 on console. The Sims is finally back on consoles with The Sims 4, and it'll allow you to enjoy the power to create and control people in a virtual world where there are no rules. You can express your creativity as you customize your Sims' appearance and personalities. And what's very exciting about The Sims 4 hitting the consoles is that it's expected that this is the full PC version. There are no corners being cut, and this is your same truest form of Sims. Sims 4 hits PS4 and Xbox One on November 17th. Number 9, Batman the Telltale series on Switch. The Nintendo Switch has been receiving a lot of games from earlier this generation, from games like Axiom Verge, Farming Simulator, and now we have another in Batman the Telltale series, which was one of the better Telltale games, and Telltale has created some excellent story-driven adventures, so that's saying a lot. The action sequences and portrayal of Batman were on point, and the story was pretty engaging as well. Batman the Telltale series hits the Switch on November 14th.
Just remember, there is room for Bruce and Batman inside that suit.
For too long, this city has burned with corruption and greed. And with Bruce's help, a vote for Harvey Dent is a vote to finally put your foot down.
Vicky Vale, reporter for the Gotham Gazette. Is the Dent campaign soliciting votes from Gotham's biggest crime family?
Money gets money. I can get Harvey the mayor's seat, or I can pull it out from...
Number 8, Tannenberg. Tannenberg is the latest entry in the World War I game series that started with the FPS Verdun. This is expanding to focus on the Eastern Front. Warfare between the Russian Empire and the Central Powers offers a fresh experience for new and veteran players alike. There's 4 new squads, over 20 weapons, 4 open maps, and a whole new 64-player game mode with full AI bot support. Tannenberg hits the PC on November 16th. Number 7, Rime on Switch. Rime is another older game hitting the Nintendo Switch for the first time, and Rime was one of the more artistic games of this generation. It uses the island itself and audio without a spoken narrative to tell the game's story. It's got some very unique puzzle gameplay, and the game has seen comparisons to The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and some of the Team Eco titles, although I wouldn't say that Rime hits the quality of those games, but it is very good, and Nintendo Switch players will want to check it out when it comes November 14th. Number 6, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is back once again, and now you can see the world of Skyrim fully in VR. Now, at this point, if you haven't played The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, you've probably been living under a rock in the gaming world, so the majority of gamers that are picking up Skyrim VR probably have already played Skyrim at some point, but this is an enticing way to play the game, and it should add a whole new level of immersion, and PlayStation VR hasn't seen a ton of exciting games, so Skyrim VR can definitely add some depth to that library, and it'll be hitting PSVR on November 17th. Number 5, LA Noire. LA Noire is back, and now for the next generation platforms. It was one of the more interesting games by Rockstar released last generation. It had a very cool noir setting, and the gameplay was very interesting as well, with the interrogation-based gameplay, and the facial design was so well done. There were some problems with the game, but LA Noire was such a unique game that you should definitely check it out if you haven't. It comes to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on November 14th. Number 4, Rocket League on Switch. Another iconic game coming to Nintendo Switch is Rocket League. This has become one of the most popular games on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. The party-based gameplay that Rocket League offers, very few games can rival it. It's just such a fun game, and there is an online competitive aspect to it as well, so its multiplayer style of gameplay has a lot of depth to it, and it'll be very nice to have Rocket League on the Switch so you can play it at home or on the go on November 14th. Number 3, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Pokemon has been one of the most iconic franchises in gaming, honestly, ever, and now we have Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which are enhanced versions of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Think something like what Platinum and Emerald were. These titles will have a slightly modified story, and you'll have new forms of the mascot legendary Pokemon. At this point, if you're not a fan of Pokemon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon aren't going to change your mind, but for those of you that have enjoyed the franchise, and I'm sure that's a lot of you, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon hit the 3DS on November 17th. Number 2, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim on Switch. So the Switch is receiving a lot of love from classic games, and now we have another one of the most iconic games ever in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim releasing on Switch. We have the game coming out on PSVR and Switch on the same day, so you'll be able to pick your style of play and platform of preference. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim hitting Switch is very exciting because once again, this will allow you to have the Skyrim experience at home or on the go, and the Switch hasn't had a lot of open world RPGs released, so having Skyrim on it will be very nice. Hits the Switch on November 17th. And finally, number 1, Star Wars Battlefront 2. The first Star Wars Battlefront was one of the most anticipated games of this generation, and I think most would agree in saying that it failed to live up to the expectations, but DICE did set a solid foundation for what Star Wars Battlefront could become. The visuals were very impressive, and the core gameplay was good. The main issue with Star Wars Battlefront was that it was a $60 title, and it was very bare bones in the content department. There was no single-player campaign. The multiplayer didn't have a lot of depth to it. But now that looks to be remedied with Star Wars Battlefront 2. You've got a single-player campaign, you've got a deeper multiplayer experience. This is what the first game should have been. The only issue is now you have the caveat with all of the microtransactions, loot boxes, and that's gonna turn a lot of gamers off. Nonetheless, it should be one of the biggest games of the year as Star Wars Battlefront 2 released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on November 17th.
A way for you to increase the level of customization for your character. So if you want to play as the assault class and you really want to focus on having a great grenade, this allows you to upgrade your grenade over time so it does more damage, or maybe it has a larger explosion radius. You're trying to collect cards to give yourself more gameplay tools in your toolbox for each of your various classes. And the beta is just a sliver of what we have available, but we want to give players a taste of we want players to work together as a team. As you spawn in, we want to make sure that people are trying to pick the right classes that complement each other.
So that wraps up the top 10 new game releases of the week. Let us know what you think. What games are you gonna pick up this week? Comment your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.